Welcome to this valuable information from Destiny, where Margaret Lomas shares her expertise on many aspects of property investing. Today, we hope you enjoy listening to Margaret talking about Tenants' Rights and Responsibilities Part 2.
As I mentioned in Part 1 of Tenants' Responsibilities and Rights, in most states, a tenant can no longer break a lease even when a good reason is given, unless the landlord agrees to the lease being broken. Where tenants wish to move out prior to the end of a lease, it's their responsibility to continue to pay the rent to the owner until a new tenant can be found. In many states, the tenants must also meet the costs of advertising for a new tenant. Here are some other things to note. Where tenants plan not to renew a lease, notice must be given to the landlord. The amount of time needed to give notice depends on the reason for ending the tenancy, but is generally 14 to 28 days. If the tenants simply walk out, they're in breach of contract, and the landlord can claim compensation for any money lost as a result. This is where landlord's insurance may come in handy. A landlord can't ask a tenant to leave prior to the expiration of a lease unless the tenant has in some way breached the lease agreement. Even in that event, the landlord can't physically throw out tenants or force them to leave in any other way. If tenants dispute the reason for ending a tenancy agreement other than its natural expiration, they can apply to the tribunal for an extension of time to move or stay in the premises. Where a legal notice has been served on a tenant to vacate a property and that notice runs out but the tenant is still in residence, the landlord may apply for a possession order. Even if this possession order is granted, the landlord still can't use force to make the tenant leave. The police must enforce the order after the landlord gets a warrant of possession. When a tenant does go, you should know a landlord may not keep any goods left behind as payment of unpaid rent or to offset any damage that has occurred. The landlord must make every attempt to contact the tenant and advise that the goods are available for collection. Each state has special rules for disposal of tenants' unwanted goods which are not subsequently collected by the tenant. Despite the horror stories, the reality is, in your investing time frame, you're unlikely to come across an event which can't be managed toward a satisfactory outcome. You should always start by trying to solve any problems with tenants calmly through a dispute resolution process. See if both sides can come to some sort of agreement which can reduce the stress that you may all be feeling. If the dispute becomes too difficult for you to manage, there is help available through your state or territory Office of Fair Trading and through rental tenancy agencies and tribunals. These tribunals can deal with any dispute which involves a tenancy agreement and will act on your case if all other avenues have been exhausted. Where your case has resulted in extreme hardship, you can ask for it to be fast-tracked and dealt with as a matter of urgency.
Thank you for accessing this great information by Margaret Lomas. If you'd like to become a highly successful property investor and improve your outcomes and profits from property investing, you can now complete Margaret's Essential Property Education course online and at your own pace. Go to destiny.com.au and go to the What We Offer page to read more about this exclusive property investor training course.